since I went through formula mass percent composition kind of quickly, what I did is I thought I'd take a step back. So I wrote some extra notes on these. We're going to go through those now. They're not part of the chapter 3 PowerPoint, but again, I thought I should step back, slow down a little bit and go through this. If you have any questions, make sure you guys get a hold of me, okay? So formula mass and molecular mass, they mean the same thing. It's what a compound weighs. And it's actually very simple to find. When you have a compound like silver nitrate here, you take each individual element and then how much of each element. This only has one because there's no subscript down here. The 108 I get from the periodic table. It's the mass of silver. And again, you can round, you guys. You don't have, it might be 108.25, whatever. Just round, that's fine. So the mass of silver in silver nitrate is 108. Then I put nitrogen. There's only one of them. And nitrogen's mass is 14. So I got 14 there. And then oxygen, there's two of them. So 2 here times 16. All right. So make sure that this is the subscript of how much you have. And then this is the mass from the periodic table. And then you just add them all together. So the mass of silver nitrate is 154 AMUs. And when we're relating it, we can say grams. Okay. Actually, it's not, but it percentage-wise, it works that way. Okay. So that's the formula mass. And again, I know I went through that kind of quickly, so I wanted to revisit it. Here's another example. Let's say we got calcium phosphate. Okay, now you've got, your numbers in here, your parentheses. This would be 3 calcium. This would be 2 phosphorus and 8 oxygen. It's important you remember if something's in parentheses. Don't multiply this by 2. It's not in the parentheses, okay? So calcium, I have 3 of them. If you look on the periodic table, the mass of calcium is 40, okay? Phosphorus is 2 of them. Its mass is 31, so when I multiply, I get 62. And then oxygen, there's 8 of them. 4 times 2 times 16 is 128. And then you add them together. So the formula mass for calcium phosphate is 310 AMUs or 310 grams. All right, that's formula mass. It's not very difficult. It's basically just taking the individuals and adding them together. All right, now, since it really isn't that hard to do formula mass, and it's something that you need a lot because we do a lot of problems where you need the formulas of compounds. I don't want to have you spend all your time finding formula mass, so I'm going to show you a little cheat. Okay, see if I can find it on my phone. Okay, there is an app, and I'll put it up here. See if I can find it. It's that white one, and it says CMM on it, and I'm sorry I can't show you that better. Okay, it's calculating molecular mass. Go to your app store. It doesn't matter if you have an Android or if you have an iPhone or whatever, but go to the app store and type in calculating molecular mass, and you're going to get some sort of program. This one works slick because what you can end up doing is, find it again. Okay, you type in the formula and it gives you the mass. Okay, so what we are just doing, it'll show up here. The only trick is make sure you use your capitals and your parentheses and that kind of stuff, because otherwise you're going to get funky numbers. But it will give you the formula mass, so you don't have to do what we did on the 2 slides before. Okay, so find that app, download it. It doesn't have to be the exact same one I have because I think there's a few. That one is great. It's free. And make sure you get a free app. You guys don't pay for them because there's all kinds of them that are free. And again, you're just looking for where you type in the formula and it gives you the mass. Okay, so I put that in here. Look in your app store for an app that calculates molecular mass. The one I have on my iPhone is CMM. It works great. Okay, if you have an Android, it might be a little different. The icon is for the CMM it's just all white and it says CMM and it has like scribbles on it. Okay, but again, you want to find the mass of it. If in the Android it's a little different, but what you want to do is have that app so you don't have to do this formula mass all the time. Now that you know how to do it, there's no real reason for you to keep figuring out the formula mass. It's kind of like when you're a kid and you learn how to divide. Once you learn how to divide, then you can use the calculator. Well, finding formula mass shouldn't be a problem, so now use the app. Okay, you can type in chemical form, and this one I type in the chemical formula and it'll give you the mass. And again, you just have to be careful with capital letters and small letters where they should be in parentheses and all that. That has to be right, otherwise, you're not going to get the right number. And sometimes it'll even tell you error because that chemical compound doesn't exist. Okay, so You can use that when we do problems, and you'll see we'll have more problems coming up after this where you have to find the formula mass of the compound. And again, I don't want you to have to spend a ton of time calculating formula mass. You can just type it in your phone and you get the right answer. All right. So again, look for something that calculates molecular mass or formula mass. Download it in your phone, and it'll help you with these formula mass problems. Okay. All right. So once you do formula mass, then you can do percent composition. And percent composition, again, I did this in the notes, but we went through it kind of fast, so I thought I'd revisit it. Let's say I want to find the percent of copper and bromine in copper bromide. Okay, you'd find the formula mass like we did before. We'd have one copper, and copper is a weird one. Its mass is 63.5. This one you don't round. There's a couple of them like that. Mercury is 200.5. and chlorine is 35.5. But again, if you have your app on your phone, it'll do this for you, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay. But anyway, I got 63.5, and then I have 2 bromine, and bromine's mass is 80. So that's 160. So when you add these together, you get 223. And again, you could just type this in. If I type this in on my phone, and again, I'll see if you can see this. CuBr2. Okay, I've got on here on my phone I have 223.354. So 223.5 is fine, or if you want to use what exactly comes up in your phone, that's fine too. It's not a problem. And again, I'll try to find it for you. See, I typed it in there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I typed in the chemical formula and then I got the mass. Okay, then after that, if you want to figure out percent composition, all you have to do is take the individual. So I would take 63.5 and divide by the total. Okay, it's kind of like figuring out your grade. If you want to know what your grade is, you take the points you have divided by the total points. Well, if I want to figure out the percent of copper in copper bromide, I take the mass of copper divided by the total. And you're going to get a number less than 1. If you don't get a number less than 1, you divide it wrong, you guys. But you get 0.284 or 28.4%. So in copper bromide, 28.4% is bromine. If you're looking for a compound with a lot of copper, this would not be a good one. Okay? And then for bromine, you do the same thing. You take the mass of bromine, 160, not its mass from the periodic table, but the total in that compound. So 160 divided by 223, and you get 0.716 or 71.6. And if you look at these two numbers, if I add those together, I get 100%. Okay? So, and I have one more percent composition problem right here. What if I just want to know the amount of carbon? Okay, you don't have to do all of the elements. You can just do one. So again, the first thing you would have to do is find the formula mass of C6H12O6. And again, you could get that right off your phone app if you want. That's up to you. Okay, so I got 72 for the carbon, 12 for the hydrogen. You just got to love hydrogen, right? Because it's always 1. And then oxygen, I got 6 of them times 16. So when I add these 3 numbers together, I get 180. All right, that's the total. So if I just want to do carbon, I'm going to take carbon's mass, 72, not the 12, but I want to know in this compound I have 72 grams of carbon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 72 divided by the total, 180. Okay, so 72 divided by 180 is 0.4 or 40%. So in this compound, which is actually called glucose, it's like the sugar that gives us all our energy, but 40% of it is carbon. Okay, that's how you do percent composition. So like I said, I went back and did formula mass and percent composition because I went through them kind of quickly in the notes. So I wanted to add this little blurb in there. Try to find the app and download it on your phone, and that'll help you with the formula mass. It's easy to find the formula mass. So that's why, like I said, when you learn to divide, you have to learn out long division, but once you learn how to do it, you get to use a calculator. Well, you learn how to do formula mass, now you can use the app to do that. We got technology, we might as well use it. So that's it for this. We'll go back to chapter 3 on the next part of the lecture, but I just wanted to go back and do this because I thought I went through it kind of quick, and I was feeling kind of bad, thought I went through the stuff too quick, and I wanted to make sure you understand it. So again, if you have questions or whatever, email me, and I'll talk to you next lecture part.